Welcome back, children. I think you are fit and fine. And these pictures you have seen in the previous session, isn't it? Rolling of the tongue and widow's peak, then hitchhiker's thumb and attached earlobes, isn't it? So, in today's session, we will deal with Mendel's laws, the second law, that is independent assortment. Then we will deal with incomplete dominance, codominance, and multiple allelism also. Okay. A recap of the previous session, children. What is inheritance? Transfer of characters from parents to offspring is called inheritance. One gene is responsible for expressing different characters, or number of genes expresses one character. Genes are the basic of inheritance, isn't it? Transfer of characters from parent to their offspring is called heredity. Inheritance is the basis of heredity. And the differences between the characters or traits among the individuals of the same species are called variation. Within the family also, there are variations among sisters and brothers and between the children and the parents, isn't it? So this is all what is called variation. And in fact, if we look at the species level, then variations uh, can lead to what is called evolution and origin of new species. So in the previous session itself, we have dealt with Mendel's experiments, and you pretty well know that Johann Gregor Mendel is called as the father of genetics, and he has extensively conducted experiments of Isum sativum, that is the garden pea. Okay, and this is actually a picture which is showing variations, isn't it? Different skin colors and different types. So you will pretty well know that Mendel has taken 7 pairs of contrasting traits like this in garden pea, and with respect to say position of the flower, height of the stem, then shape of the seed, color of the seed, and shape of the pod, color of the flower, like this he has taken, and he conducted experiments, and based on the results that he obtained, he has generalized those results into ratios, and he has formulated laws which are popularly called as Mendel's laws, isn't it? So all these we have learned in the previous session itself, and it is a recap actually. So some of the Mendel's inferences here: characters are controlled by some factors that are stably passed down without any change from parents to offsprings. Okay, and factors occur in pairs, and if you look into any pair, one of them is hidden in some of the generations. It skips generations, and that hidden factor is called the recessive one, and the one which is constantly expressing itself is called as dominant. Okay, so these are some of the uh, things which we have already dealt, and this is a concept map, this which was also given in the previous session. Okay, and you see Mendel has done experiments when he has considered one gene. Okay, and that is a monohybrid cross, and based on that he has given law of dominance and law of segregation. And when people started experimenting with other plants and animals, they encountered what is called as incomplete dominance, codominance, all these. And experiments where Mendel has taken 2 genes into consideration, that is a dihybrid cross, and the law which he has given based on this is called law of independent assortment. And linkage and recombination really goes against, or rather it gives a different kind of a ratio or formulation which is different from the independent assortment. So codominance and complete dominance, linkage and recombination are exceptions to Mendel's laws. So based on the monohybrid ratios and law of dominance and segregation, can we try to understand these questions? We'll try to address these questions in this particular session. Now, can it happen such that when a red flowered plant is crossed to a white flowered plant, the progeny have light red or pink shade, a third color? Is it possible? With respect to Mendel's monohybrid cross, either the flower should be red or white, the progeny should be red or white. Here there is a third color. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. And that is called as incomplete dominance. Okay. Now, is it possible that a gene for flower color is also is responsible for the shape of the seed? That means a single gene can it control two particular traits there? Yes, it is possible. And when such a thing happens, it is called as pleiotropy. Now, can it be such that a coat of an animal can be of many colors, black, brown, white, and so on? That means, in case of Mendel's crosses, we have learned that there is tall and dwarf, or a purple, white, yellow, green, only two colors. What if there are different colors like this? Black, brown, white, and so on. Can it be like that? Yes, it can be like that. It can be because of a polygenic inheritance. It is possible there. Or um, the next question we will see, is it possible such that out of the two alleles of a gene, no allele is dominant? Yes, it is possible that both the alleles are equally expressing, that is codominance. And when we have many such colors or many such combinations coming up as the third question, it could be because of a polygenic inheritance, that is more than one gene is involved in particular trait, or it is possible that one particular gene is not having two alleles but more than two alleles are there, multiple allelism it is called as, that also can give rise to such a situation. So all these can be possible, right? So we'll address these in the current session. The first answer, as I told you, it is incomplete dominance, and the second one, particular gene can code for more than one trait, that is pleiotropy. And can it be such that the code of an animal can be of many colors? This is multiple allelism. Okay, and next is it possible such that out of the two alleles of a gene, no allele is dominant? Yes, it is possible. That is because of codominance. Okay. Now let us see, look into what is incomplete dominance. When neither of the two alleles of a gene is completely dominant over the other, the phenomenon is called incomplete dominance. Now F1 had a phenotype that did not resemble either of the two parents and was in between the two. The inheritance of flower color in the dog flower, that is snapdragon or antirrhinum species, is a good example to understand incomplete dominance. So when a true breeding red flowered and a true breeding white flowered plants were crossed, the F1 is expected to be red or white, whichever is dominant. But what happened is the F1 was pink. So in this case, the F2 generation on selfing this F1, the ratio was 1 is to 2 is to 1. That is both phenotypic and genotypic, both were 1 is to 2 is to 1. Okay, so this is RR. So here the gametes are there. The capital R, small r is the F1, and on selfing that gave rise to 1 is to 2 is to 1, like this. Okay, so this is F1, red cross to white, all are pink. Then next is you have got this where red, pink, and white. So that is 1 is to 2 is to 1 ratio. Okay. Now let us address what is multiple allelism and codominance. So when a gene exists in more than two allelic forms, then it is called multiple allelism. But understand one thing, children, a gene can have more than two allelic forms, three, four, and more. But out of these four or five or three, an organism will have any two. An organism will have any two out of these three alleles. Okay, so that particular gene has got three alleles. How do we know that? When we observe a population, we'll come to know that each individual is having two out of those three alleles. So we'll take some a classic example here, that is the human blood grouping. See children, last year in case of human physiology, okay, blood circulation, that particular chapter you have dealt with the blood groups, isn't it? So there are four blood groups, AB, and O. So the two alleles of a gene are equally dominant and express themselves, that is called codominance, and this you can see in AB blood group here. So there are three alleles for this particular blood group inheritance in human being, that is IA, IB, and small I, which is also called IO. Three alleles are there, so that is multiple allelism. And IA and IB both are dominant over the small I. So IAI, this particular genotype shows blood group A. IBI, a particular human being with this genotype will show B blood group. IA, IB are codominant. That is, none of them is dominant. Both of them will express. So it is AB blood group, and this particular one is like your recessive small t. So small I coming like this is O blood group. In fact, if you look into why it is like this, the appearance of A and B is attributed to the presence of a polysaccharide A and B. A is a polysaccharide, B is another type of polysaccharide. The presence of these, any one or both, on the RBC is going to give the characteristic blood group. So if A antigen is present, then it is A blood group. If B antigen is present, it is B blood group. If both are present, it is AB blood group. If nothing is present, so this particular small I is not producing, this particular allele is not producing any polysaccharide there. So obviously IAI genotype, if you consider, IA will be dominant over small I because IA is producing an antigen there, that is a polysaccharide, and small I is not producing anything. So IAI shows dominance, IB small I shows dominance, IA, IB both are expressing, so this is codominance. Overall, three alleles are there, resulting into four different blood groups. So three alleles are there. So this is a classic example of multiple allelism also. Okay, you see, this is just to show you that A, B, AB, O blood groups are there, and this is actually CACA, and this is this particular organism is AB blood group. So just to show codominance, it is written B and W, CB, CW, but you can attribute it as A and B here, and it is CACB, that is codominance is being shown here. Okay. Now, next moving on to what is called pleiotropy. A single gene product may produce more than one effect. So, even in garden peas, such a phenomenon has been observed in the following characters. Starch synthesis or size of starch grains and the shape of seeds are controlled by one gene. Flower color and seed coat color are found to be controlled by the same gene. So one particular gene which is controlling the flower color and seed coat color also is controlling the size of starch grains and starch synthesis. So when one particular gene is going to produce something which can affect more than one trait, the phenomenon is called pleiotropy. Okay. Now let us look into dihybrid cross. So here you are seeing that two characters are being taken up, round and yellow. Round is a shape and yellow is a color, and wrinkled green. Okay, so round yellow is double dominant here, it is homozygous for that, and wrinkled green is double recessive here, and these are the gametes. Okay, and you have to take a grid like this, and when you put it like a diamond shape like this is called Punnett squares. This has been explained also to you already. So these are the genotypes here, the male genotypes and the female genotypes. You have the 16 progeny coming up here. And if you look into the phenotypic ratio, 9 are round yellow, 3 are round green, 3 are wrinkled yellow, and 1 is wrinkled green. So let us look into what are the parental traits here. Parents were round yellow and wrinkled green. So how many are round yellow? 9 are round yellow. How many are wrinkled green? 1 is wrinkled green. A round green and wrinkled yellow are non-parental types coming up here, isn't it? So based on this, Mendel has given his law of independent assortment. When you have a non-parental trait coming up, non-parental combination coming up, like round and green and wrinkled yellow, based on that, he has given this law. So in the inheritance of two pairs of contrasting characters, the factors of each pair of characters segregate independently of the factors of the other pair of the characters and are free to form combinations. What do we understand by this? That means, so if you look into capital R and capital Y, RR is independent of YY. Okay. So in the when you have a heterozygote like this, capital R, capital Y, this capital R small r is independent of capital Y small y, and this capital R small r also they are independent. So they will form combinations like to give you round and green. Okay. So round and green means what? Here it is shown: capital R, small y, capital R, small y, small y, all these four which are shown here. Okay, so they are these three which are shown here are in fact round and green, and this is wrinkled and green. So if you look into the round and green also, one is pure for the round character, and these two are heterozygous for the round trait, isn't it? So this is what is um, the essence of independent assortment. That means when independent assortment happens, then you get non-parental types, that is round green and wrinkled yellow, because round alleles for the round trait, alleles for the wrinkled trait are independent of the traits which are coding for the color. So they are free to form combinations. That's what this particular lot tells you, isn't it? Okay. Now, so the same thing represented in a checkerboard here, like this as a grid. So you can see here, children, 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 ratio given here also. And it has already been explained to you how to work out the genotypic ratio here. And you can see that 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. If you add these numbers, you will get 16. Okay, so 16 progeny are there, and the genotypic ratio comes to 1 is to 2 is to 2 is to 4 is to 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 2 is to 1, like this. It segregates like this. It has already been told to you, explained to you how to work out the Mendel's dihybrid genotypic ratio, isn't it? So in the next session with some more interesting aspects of genetics, we will meet. And until then, goodbye, children.